Definitely not to a resilient world, definitely not to a responsive and agile organization able to respond to the complexity of the real world, where we have several crises striking at once. It will not help us ride the wave of complexity in that manner. So it's time to revisit the way in which we are doing things. And on the organizational continuum, culture is structured by the conventions of coordination. And I already mentioned that the hierarchies are the most stiff. They're not really very productive and not able to cope with complexity. And then we have, when it's a very complex world, we have totally flexible network, which can respond in various ways, shapes, and forms. But let's see, how are we controlling that network in order to deploy it appropriately to cope with the complexity? And then we have something in between, which we call heterarchy, in which we have a balancing between top-down and bottom-up. That seems to be the most perfect way of doing things. How do we contain such evolving complexity? Nature has taught us ways to deal with complexity. This is an example in which individuals at the bottom self-organize completely independently without any help in order to optimize a path from their nest to the food source. And what is even more amazing is that they are optimizing this without any help from the outside, but it appears like there is like a plan. Self-organized criticality as well as highly optimized tolerances. It turns out that highly optimized tolerances are much more useful, and it's how our cells have been optimizing in order to create immunity in our systems. So we can follow that way in which nature adapted itself. Individuals from the bottom, they create the rules of the system in a manner which enables them to behave like there is a plan and optimize, just like the ants are optimizing here, as you can see, but without a plan. So we have the rules emerging. So we have these action plans, as I was mentioning, which are practically rules for interaction between individuals, just like the ants were. And we can actually program them in our agent. We can program them through smart contracts in our infrastructure now and deploy the DAOs like that. And we are programming them in our simulation models, as I will show you very soon how we do that. And of course, it is clear that most of the time, especially in social organization, it is necessary to have a goal set from the top, just as I was illustrating here. And then through social interactions, you can achieve those goals. So the setting of the goal would still go top-down in social interactions. But then we would have the agents at the bottom, rather than being, puppeteered from the top, we would give them the freedom to self-organize to achieve the goal, just like nature has given them the freedom to self-organize, and it worked much more resilient and much better. We call such structures, which I mentioned as heterarchies, they are also called holarchies, because this is a concept of governance which is actually bringing autonomy and cooperation. So it is balancing the cooperation and achieving a goal which was set from the top with the self-organization of the agents at the bottom to achieve this goal in the most productive manner.